Hello guys, gals and empals, and welcome to the ironic side of YouTube.
Yawn! I sure am tired from a long day of work. It's time to unwind with some modern day political satire.
In today's video, we're going to be talking about that famous source of YouTube fun times, Jreg, a person with a longish history of making videos with a range of comedic targets and messages, but with one key element to almost all of them: a satirical bent, taking hyperbolic stances and characters as a way of poking fun at the aspects that we normally discuss so seriously. A wordsmith who weaves thoughts and ideas as a way of inspiring or provoking reaction in those who hear what he has to say. Someone whose entire discography has gained a quick and rabid fan base, and whose political statements and art is not helping in the way that a lot of people think it is. Let's talk about why Jreg's brand of satire isn't good. I assume from the communist hat and the fake Russian accent I'm putting on that I'm meant to be the authoritarian communist, I guess. Gulags. Send all the people to gulags and death to capitalism and Russia. No, America. Death to America. That's right. Satire as a form of expression is designed to point out the flaws, vices and shortcomings of people, organisations, governments or societies by shaming or mocking them into changing or noticing those issues with the way that they act. There are numerous classifications of all kinds of satire, with a great history going back thousands of years, with such notable examples as the Modest Proposal by Jonathan Swift, which argued that the poor should sell their children to the rich to eat, as a way of both reducing those in poverty and providing a source of food in that society, which mocked the extremely anti-workers and pro-wealthy policy/identity of the British Empire at the time. This was a prime example of what can be said with satirical comedy, that it can be a powerful tool for pointing out societal issues in a way that lures in those who would otherwise normally dismiss it or ignore it. By adopting the mentality of the group or person that it is trying to mock, it can work its way into pointing out how ridiculous or cruel that group's intentions are, by turning a mirror on their own thinking and logical construction. An effective methodology for reaching people who might either be on the fence about the target or who have become convinced by that way of thinking, and then see this affirming critique in a way that awakens a realization of how foolish that ideology or belief system is. In that last bit there, though, we find the issue with satire that a lot of people end up talking about, which is kind of relevant to my problem with Jreg, so we're going to briefly talk about it here. I have no idea what this... Oh, I'm an anarcho-capitalist. Okay, I get it. Isn't it normally like a fedora and a suit, though? Is the anarcho-capitalist? Oh, okay. Budget issues back in the studio here, so stuck with what we've got, I suppose. Anyway, it's a phebophilia, not pedophilia. We should be able to sell ourselves into slavery. You know, if everybody's free to do whatever they want, then they should be able to sell everything, including themselves and their children. And hyperbole, the ironic mocking of somebody's thought by over-exaggerating it, only works if people recognize that it is in fact what you are doing. By that I mean that if the people you are mocking do not think you are in fact mocking them, that you are just saying things that they agree with, then you're going to start building an audience of those who you were initially attempting to go after. If you're not very clearly making this obvious to them and doing it consistently enough that they are aware that you're not in favour of what they believe, you can end up gaining followers who just think you're being for real. If you do not, and if that happens, then you end up being an unfortunate and unwilling member of a crappy community or source of entertainment/interest for them, which is kind of the opposite of what you were hoping to achieve, and can quite often dilute your message and intentions down to the point that the satire is no longer a tangible element of your content anymore. It's a concern for a lot of satirists throughout literature, art and music that those they seek to tear down a peg will end up co-opting their weapons of comedic aggression into a defense of those positions. One example of this, and it's a bit of an odd one, but we'll go with it, which utilises satire in an interesting way as well, is Born in the USA by Bruce Springsteen, a song that has a super patriotic chorus as a way of attacking that same nationalistic zeal that threw young men into war and then abandoned them afterwards, as the post-Vietnam period was like, which then got used by Ronald Reagan during his run for president. Ronald Reagan didn't use it in respect to the fact the song was actually very anti-American attitudes. His campaign just liked the tone that it portrayed when taken out of context. Satire needs the context of what it is targeting for it to be taken accurately and effectively, and that can be a problem when certain outlets are able to be viewed without that nuance, or when someone fails to actively place that context themselves. Now we get to the actual problem that I have specifically with Jreg. Death to the State, ACAB, 1312, down with all systems, people should be free to do whatever they want, anarchy in the UK, burn the flags, this one included, burn them all, little A sign thing. Yeah, cops are bad, I've already said that before. The corporations are also bad. The state and the corporations are bad, both of them are bad. Jreg has, throughout the many videos that have been released in the past 5 to 6 months, mocked almost every single political position and ideology, through a mixture of his anti-centrist/centrist series and the one-off side ventures. The only consistent thread through most of this has been that he generally only gets serious in the takes when it comes to something very depressing or real, focused around a nihilistic view of the way the world works. Stuff like how we are all just waiting for a war to die in because it will give us purpose to our lives, or that when the nukes fall at least we will all feel alive in the apocalypse, or the fact that our every interaction is milked for social capital and currency in a way that we have no control over. There's no real clear thread that I can find beyond this core concept that all political positions and ideology is a flawed attempt to fix the human condition, an inherently broken thing that could never truly be repaired. As I said, it's both a very pessimistic view of human society and its operation, and also one that kind of encourages disenfranchisement and disconnection from the world. I mean, if all of these proposals and all of these methods/trains of thought can all be extrapolated till they are silly or ineffective, then what is the point in trying to work within any of them? Why not just give up and let the whole thing burn to the ground? Now, I don't know if that is the intended message of what Drogon is trying to say. I can only read into this what I see, but I think that regardless of whether he is trying to do that, it is actually a very good model for getting a large amount of attention and fans. The reason for this is because the model he's adopted is not a new one. I've actually talked about someone else who did almost the exact same thing before, and let's discuss them briefly now. Sorry, I'm reading here that I'm supposed to be wearing a fascist cap and talking about ethno-states, like a minority ethno-state where you kill the majority and then you keep killing every new majority until eventually you're left with the only minority left. Is that even satire? What am I mocking there? It just feels like it's just ridiculous for no real purpose. I also don't want to do it. I feel like, am I mocking Holocausts or genocides? Did you come into this thinking that Jreg was going to get compared to South Park? Because if you did, well done. You get a sticker. Yes, the show that is famous for being avid in its desire to go after everyone as being a target that is deserving of being taken down a peg, regardless of political position or message, does in fact have a lot of similarities in the way it operates to how Jreg's channel works. It's the same kind of presentation of all of the people or groups as being hyperbolic representations of their positions, as a way of attempting to showcase the underlying flaws in their logic and argumentation. It falls into attracting the same two kinds of audience as well. The first being the apolitical, non-aligned outsiders, who don't link themselves to any particular group because believing in anything or attempting to work on something as a way of fixing the world opens oneself up to being criticised, and therefore they much prefer to sit on the sidelines and laugh at everybody else. which is a common thing for a lot of younger people who don't have so much commitment or so much committed to the way the world works or to their own lives or to people around them, and they just want to sit back and mock things. And the second are those who watch some episodes or videos that appeal to their biases and beliefs and then read into the channel/TV series as being one that aligns with their own positions. Any content that mocks them is seen as being just a bit of harmless fun, while the ones mocking those that they don't like are seen as having a deep commentary on serious problems in their enemies. This is how a TV series, or a YouTube channel, could end up having fans from across the political spectrum while making supposedly political videos targeted at no one in particular. If ultimately there is no clear target and no consistent message, then anybody can read whatever they like into it and therefore think it's been designed specifically for them. It's a good marketing strategy for making your content viable. It's also very good for avoiding any opposition, because if you never make a stand on something, then can you really be attacked or criticized ever? Well, the answer is yes. I'm trying to do that right now, but I'm not attacking his positions because I can't. I'm attacking what he's trying to do. This openness to interpretation and lack of an underlying foundation is the weak spot in the attempted satire that South Park and Jay Reginald is engaging in, as it leaves them open to never being able to talk about or discuss a serious long-term conversation through their art. So as you might have guessed from the Tim Pool beanie and the Star Wars fandom Darth Vader t-shirt, that I'm currently the centrist. I'm the lackluster, no real hard opinions, just doing whatever it takes to get views and attention, because check out my channel, sub, comment, like, let me laugh at SJWs and the silly media and anybody who believes in anything too strongly, because any of those outsider things, they're all mockable. They're all problems. But also the centrists are problems too. Us, we're problems too, because we believe too strongly in not believing in something, and that makes us believe too much, and therefore we're mockable. And my God, what have I become? Ultimately, I can't force anyone to change what they do, and I doubt that Jreg is going to edit how his channel operates because I've criticized it here. I kind of think it's far more profitable and socially advantageous to maintain his current trajectory, and there's no real incentive for that to change anytime soon. I guess the best advice here, then, is for the people who enjoy what Jreg does and watch his videos, and that advice is this. Don't take away any deep messages from what he is trying to say. Don't assume that the videos you'll watch are arguing for your personal ideology, because the inconsistency of the content shows that anyone can take that away from them. And if anybody can take that away, then nobody can really be certain of what it is in fact trying to say. Watch them for a brief bit of entertainment, no doubt that can definitely be something that they do, but without a more well laid out foundation for what they're trying to say about the world and about society, I don't think they operate as a good form of satire. They are better pieces of just plain ridicule or abstraction. Nothing further than that, though. If you think I'm being too harsh here, then I don't know, it's just a critique. Chill, I guess. Be a centrist, like Tim Pool. Anyways, thanks for watching the video, and I hope you have a great politics-free day.